So far we have seen the background of this particular subject, organizational behavior. Now let's enter into the deeper meaning of this concept. Organizational behavior is a systematic study of the actions and attitudes that people exhibit within organization. So previously we have seen that it is not just common sense, it is something beyond common sense which requires a systematic study. So here we say it is a systematic study of actions and attitudes that people exhibit within organizations. What are the actions of our employees? What are the attitudes our employees have? So those actions and attitudes of employees of our organization are studied systematically. It is a systematic study of the actions and attitudes that people exhibit within organizations. And another definition for organizational behavior is that OB is a field study that investigates the impact that individuals, groups and structure have on behavior within organizations for the purpose of applying such knowledge toward improving an organization's effectiveness. We have previously mentioned about this particular definition. So it is an investigation about the impact that individuals, groups and structure have on behavior. And this particular investigation is for applying the knowledge for improving the effectiveness of an organization. Another simple definition given by Fred Luthans about organizational behavior is OB is directly concerned with the understanding, prediction and control of human behavior in organizations. So OB is concerned with three things. One is understanding, and the second one is prediction, and the third one is control. Understanding, prediction and control of human behavior in organizations. We try to understand the human behavior. We try to predict the human behavior on the basis of systematic study. And when there is unwanted behavior, we try to control human behavior. So once again, OB is directly concerned with understanding, prediction and control of human behavior in organizations. Another definition given by H. Randolph Bobbitt Jr. that says OB means the study of the behavior of individuals and groups in organizations and organizations themselves as they act and interact to attain desired outcomes. So this definition says it is a study of behavior of individuals and groups and organizations. Individual, groups and organization. And that is studied to attain desired outcomes. And let's see the features of OB. OB is a study of human behavior in organizations. So as I said previously in the beginning, we are concerned about the behavior in organizations. We are not much concerned about the behavior in their private life. So it is a study of human behavior in organizations. And the next point is, or the second feature is, the interface between human behavior and the organization. So always there is an interaction between individual behavior and the organization. Based on the behavior of organization, an employee may be behaving. For example, the rules of an organization is very strict. Then the employee may behave accordingly. For example, during the peak of COVID, when the rules are strict, we may behave according to that rule, or to avoid consequences of breach of rules, we may control our behavior. So always there is an interface between human behavior and the organization. And the third one is the behavior, the study of the behavior of organization. How an organization behaves. Surely there is a behavior of organization also. It may be in the form of policies of an organization. It may be in the form of objectives of an organization. It may be in the form of rules of an organization. So, using all these various elements, an organization also behaves. So, OB studies the behavior of organization also. So, it studies the human behavior, it studies the interaction between human behavior and the organization, and thirdly, it studies the behavior of organization itself. Coming to the nature of OB, the first nature of organizational behavior. This is very important area. Normally questions are asked from this area. The first point is, it is a field of study, not a discipline. That means, till now, the organizational behavior has not attained the status of a discipline. Then what is discipline? Discipline is an accepted science with theoretical foundation. We say organizational behavior so far hasn't become a discipline. It has theoretical background, but it is in the process of becoming a discipline. Presently, it is a field of study. It hasn't become a discipline. So, the first nature is a field of study, not a discipline. And then the second nature is interdisciplinary approach. What does it mean? Interdisciplinary approach. So this point says organizational behavior draws concepts, theories, knowledge from various other disciplines. It is related to other disciplines. It doesn't have an existence independently. Rather, it is collaborative in nature. It relates with other disciplines because organizational behavior is very much related to psychology. It is related to economics. It is related to political science. Organization behavior accepts theories of social psychology, anthropology, etc. So it is interdisciplinary approach. And the third one is an applied science. It is not purely theoretical nature. We are concerned about applying the knowledge. So OB is an applied science. It is not a pure science. And the fourth point is normative and value-centered. So this particular point says, again, it is not a pure science which gives only cause and effect relationship. Rather, it is concerned about applying the findings of the research to get results. So it is normative and value-centered. It is not a pure science which focuses only on cause and effect relationship. Rather, it is concerned about application of research findings to get results. So that's what we mean by normative and value-centered. Then we say it is humanistic and optimistic. So that means it gives importance to human beings. Human beings are the primary concern of organizational behavior. So we say humanistic. And simultaneously it is optimistic also. That means we think that things are going to end positive. We are optimistic. And the next nature is oriented towards organizational objectives. OB is oriented towards organizational objectives. What does it mean? This says, though we are concerned about the human dimension, or we are giving importance to human beings, the ultimate purpose is the attainment of organization's objectives. So we try to integrate individual objectives and organization's objectives. The employee should, or the individual working in an organization should have satisfaction. Simultaneously, an organization also should have satisfaction. Both should win. It's not a situation where the employee wins and the organization loses, or the reverse. The organization wins and the employee loses. Rather, organizational behavior is concerned about a win-win situation. So it tries to integrate individual objective and organizational objectives. Both individual objectives must be attained or fulfilled. Similarly, the organization's objectives also must be attained. And the next is a total systems approach. That means there should be a system in the organization. So we see the organization as a system. And behavior is a product of socio-psychological factors. And we have to understand the factors that influence the behavior, and we have to establish a system. OB aims at establishing a system, so a total systems approach. That is another nature. So this diagram shows that there is human behavior in organizational setting, or individual behavior in the organization, and there is organization, and there is an element of interface, interaction between individual and organization, and all these things are taking place in the environment, or with the influence of environment. Environment influences a human or individual behavior. It influences the behavior of organization, and surely the environment influences the interface between individual and organization. The scope of OB. There are three major scope of OB. When we say the word scope, it means what are the things that comes under, what is the coverage. So the first scope is intrapersonal behavior. So that is a dimension of organizational behavior. Intrapersonal. Intra means within. So intrapersonal means within the organization, within the individual. Various dimensions such as personality, attitude, perception, learning, motivation, etc. All these are within an individual. The attitude is within an individual. The perception is within an individual. His personality is within him. The motivation is within. So all these are intrapersonal scope of organizational behavior. Then there is interpersonal behavior. That means between persons, between individuals. So that is what we mean by interpersonal behavior. So the aspects that comes under interpersonal behavior are group dynamics, conflict, leadership, communication, etc. All these are beyond an individual. So it is with a group level interaction. So we say it is interpersonal dimensions or behavior or scope. And the third is about organizations. Third scope. We are concerned about the formation of organization, how organizations are formed. What is the structure of organization? What is the effective structure? Most appropriate structure. And formal and informal organizations. There are formal organizations which talks about authority, rules, regulations, etc. And surely there is an informal organization. That means only relationship matters in an informal organization. So all those are part of organizations. So that is also a scope of OB. So OB has three scopes: intrapersonal behavior, interpersonal behavior, and about organizations. The next is basic OB model. So as we saw previously, there are three levels in this basic OB model. There is an individual level, there is a group level, and there is an organization system level. Same thing, individual level, group level, organization system level. The diagram can be, or the structure can be illustrated in different ways. And the OB model, a detailed OB model, is not is something beyond this basic structure. So here, the first one is individual behavior. Individual behavior, these dimensions: personality, perception, learning, attitudes and values, motivation. All these are intra-individual dimensions. All these are within the individual. That's why we say individual behavior. So the individual behavior is influenced by personality, perception, learning, attitude and values and motivation of individuals. And the second level is group behavior level. And the dynamics among the group members, the leadership, power and politics, communication, conflict, all these influences the group behavior. And the third is organization. And various elements that influence organization are the culture of the organization, the level of work stress prevailing in the organization, then the organizational change and development. Organizational change and development. So all these influences the organization. But we have to understand that all the three levels, individual behavior, group behavior and organization, are interrelated, and similarly the basic elements are also interrelated, and these results in organizational effectiveness. The purpose is have higher effectiveness. So in order to have higher effectiveness, we try to understand the individual behavior and the basis of that individual behavior. We try to understand the group behavior and the basis of group behavior. We try to understand the organization and related dimensions. So the ultimate purpose is attaining organizational effectiveness. So this is the detailed OB model.